Hi, today we're going to be looking at the Pythagorean Theorem. Now, what you should have done by now is you should have seen the videos that are on the Canvas website. And once you've watched them, there are a couple sort of animation videos, then there's a rap video which is kind of cool, and then of course there is a Pythagorean Theorem interactive activity to be done online also. Once you've done all that, then come to the sheet and we'll go through a couple of these examples. Okay, so if you haven't done those other videos yet, pause the video right now, go onto Canvas and click on the links and watch those videos, and then come back here. Okay, so now that you have watched the videos, let's take a look at a couple examples. So we'll first look at this one, part A. So now, I've always thought that a squared plus b squared equals c squared as the Pythagorean theorem didn't really make a lot of sense. The a, b, and c don't really make a whole lot of sense. So what I prefer is, because the hypotenuse, which is across from the right angle, is the longest side, I like to change the c for an L. And then I see that the two legs of the right triangle, there's usually a shorter and maybe a medium side then. So I like to call them S and M. And that seems to make more sense in my mind anyways, because then if you're ever looking for the longest side, you'll know what exactly you're looking for and you can rearrange the formula correctly. So if we use s squared plus m squared equals L squared, I'm going to find the shortest side. In this case, I see that it is the leg that has length 6. So substitute that in for s. Then the medium side is the one that is length 8. And we know that we're looking for the longest side, which is the hypotenuse. So we follow order of operations, so I'm going to square both of these first. So 6 squared is 36. Plus 8 squared is 64 equals L squared. Again, because we're solving an equation, keep the equal signs in line here. And now there's no more exponents, no brackets, there's no division or multiplication, so we'll go on to the addition here. So 36 plus 64 will give me 100 equals L squared. Then I'll take the square root of both sides, and if you take the square root of L squared, the square root and the square just cancel each other out. So that and that are gone, so we're just left with L, and the square root of 100 is 10. So in this case, the hypotenuse, or the longest side, has measurement of 10. Now we'll go on to example B, and again, a, b, and c, like I said, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, so I'm going to say L squared equals s squared plus m squared. Now, between the two legs, the s and m, it doesn't really matter which was which, really. The important thing is to identify which is the longest side, and we know the longest side is always the one across from the right angle. So I'm going to substitute the 20 in for L. And then, just for ease, I'm going to put 14 for s. It may not end up being the shortest side, but we'll find out eventually. Now, in order to isolate these, I'm going to subtract. Actually, you know what? Let's just do the squares right away. Anyways, okay. So let's do the 20 squared gives us 400. 14 squared. Where's my calculator? I think that's 196. I might need to do a quick check on that just to make sure that I'm not leading us astray. Okay, good. So 14 squared is 196. Now, because I've got two terms here, and one of them is the variable term, and they're being added together, I'm going to take the opposite sign, the opposite operation. See, the 196 has a positive here, so because they're being added and this is positive, I'm going to form the zero pair by subtracting 196 from both sides. So here we have the zero pair, and then 400 minus 196 is 204, and that equals m squared. Again, now I'll take the square root of both sides, because we want the opposite operation, so the square and the square root disappear. So we're left with the square root m is the square root of 204, which gives us, rounded to one decimal place, 14.3 centimeters. So as it turns out, it is indeed the medium side. Okay, moving right along to example 2 now. We need to calculate this length. We see that we've got a right angle triangle here, formed using this leg of 48 and this hypotenuse of 73 meters. And on the other side of this 90 degree, because this is a straight angle, we see that on this side, that's also another 90 degree angle, which means that this is another right angle triangle here, right triangle. So here we've got the hypotenuse, because that's across from the right angle, and we've got one of the legs. So we're going to have to find this leg for the small triangle, and we're going to need to find this leg of the larger triangle and add them together to get the whole length of that side. So we're going to have to do the Pythagorean Theorem twice here, so let's just start by writing up the formula. Substitute in the values. There's the longest side, so 73 squared equals the short side squared, which is 48 squared, plus the medium side squared. I'll square both of those. Now my mental math isn't that sharp to do 73 squared, so in my trusty calculator it went. So that's 4,329, and then 48 squared is 2004. Again, now we've got two terms here. They're being added together. This one's positive, so I'm going to create the zero pair by subtracting 2,304 from both sides. Both sides because we need to keep balancing the equation so that we can form 0. So we're looking for the zero pair, or sorry, the m squared. So 5,329 minus 2,304. I hit plus by accident, so I have to redo it. That gives us 3,025. I don't know why you needed a calculator for that. Anyways, we're going to take the square root of both sides again. The square and the square root cancel, and therefore m equals 55. Okay, so this leg is 55 meters for that larger triangle. Now we have to find the leg of the smaller triangle, so again we'll, the long side squared equals the short side squared plus the medium side squared. Now just for fun, I have a feeling this is going to be shorter than this side, so I'm going to now substitute 50 in for the medium side. So, no, sorry, I apologize, that's actually the hypotenuse. There's 50 squared equals the short side squared, and the medium side in this case is 48. Then we'll do the 50 squared, which is 2,500, equals the short side squared, plus 48 squared from before was 2,304. We got two terms, one's a variable, we're going to subtract 2,304 again from both sides to create again the zero pair. We're left with the short side squared, and this gives us 196. Again, take the square root of both sides to maintain balance in the equation. The square and the square root cancel. So the short side is equal to the square root of 196, which is 14. And so this here is 14. Therefore, the missing, sorry, as I'm writing off camera, the missing side length, and that's not lengths, the missing side length is 55 plus 14 equals 69 meters. Great. Okay, so you've seen the videos, you've done the interactive activity online, and you've seen these examples. This is basically as tough as the Pythagorean Theorem gets. So as long as you substitute in the correct values into the correct position in the Pythagorean Theorem, just like you saw in that wrap, the third video of the list on Canvas, and just solve it following all the steps, you should do just fine. So please go to page 445 to 447 and do these questions to practice up, and you will be a master of doing Pythagorean Theorem problems. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in class.